and he should be remembered as a rock superstar, but even more importantly, a good husband and a good father. And you can't say the same thing about Hulk Hogan. I mean, openly using the N-word in front of your family. And you mentioned it too, all the people he backstabbed behind the scenes. You're right. And if you're in the Epstein files, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're a pedophile. Does that surprise you at all?
Yeah, it does a little bit. I will say what surprised me even more has been the amount of MAGA supporters that you've seen flipping, that this was the line. Like we can all debate, like I thought the line should have been January 6th, but whatever it is, I'll take it at this point. So seeing how many people are really flipping on Donald Trump and being like, okay, you're clearly hiding something. And now you've got lawyers, from the DOJ, which used to claim Biden and the Democrats weaponized against you all the time. Now you've got them going and doing your dirty bidding. And in my opinion, making a deal with Ghislaine Maxwell. And my prediction is this: it's not going to be a pardon. It's going to be a reduced sentence down to time served for her giving names. But the flip side is going to be that she's going to make a deal that she's not going to name Trump and probably a few other people.
I tend to agree with you on that. Do you think there is anybody with an IQ over 20 that thinks the reason why Trump's DOJ is now speaking to Maxwell is because they actually want the truth? Do you really think that people out there, Ryan, are that stupid that they believe that?
Unfortunately, and I mean that in all sincerity. If people reacted the way that a lot of us rational people thought they would, we would have been done with Trump years ago. But we're here because people do buy into this stuff. They do believe the smoke instead of the evidence.
Yeah.
They believe the con over reality. Mm-hmm. And it's like everybody on our side seems to be trying to figure out, how do we combat this effectively? Like, how do you combat a movement that is literally based on willful ignorance? Because they don't want to know the truth. They don't want to better themselves. It's like I've said 100 times on transgender issue. 5 years ago, I was an idiot. I purposely went out and made some friends, educated myself on NCAA rules, what they had to go through before they could even compete. Like, I went out and purposely educated myself so that I could stop being an idiot. And I wish more MAGA people would finally just go, you know what? This is it, man. Like, he's clearly covering this up. And now, are we going to see an unredacted version of these files? Absolutely not. Pam Bondi's, it's already coming out. Pam Bondi knew about this back in like February, March. So they've been cleaning these files up. And when we see them, there's barely going to be mention of Trump. It'll be all the things we already knew, and everything else will be gone.
It's interesting, Ryan, because, for years I've been saying this for years, even when I was on a conservative radio station, and thank God
I've known you.
Yeah. Thank God I'm not on that station anymore. But when I was on a conservative station, I would be saying out loud, Trump is going to be in these files. Why? Yeah. Well, because logic tells you this was his best friend for 10 years. They're seen in video. He's at his wedding.
Yep.
Right. Mar-a-Lago. I mean, he's on the flight log 6 times. We learned that in the Maxwell trial. You don't have to be a brain surgeon to figure out the fact that, Donald Trump probably did some really bad things with Jeffrey Epstein. We already know, as you've said, and you're correct, Donald Trump is an adjudicated rapist. It was proven in a courtroom. And yes, do I believe Donald Trump had sex with underage girls? Oh, yeah. By the way, the one thing that Donald Trump said he has in common with his daughter, the first thing that entered his mind was sex. He calls his daughter voluptuous. I would probably date her if she wasn't my daughter. This is the guy who is judging 13 and 14-year-old girls in pageants. Those pageants, some of them had sexual allegations. It's the same guy who went into teenage girls' locker rooms and bragged about it sexually on the Howard Stern show.
What more? Probably hung out with Jim Jordan at this point,
Yeah, that's right.
No, it really is crazy to see, there's so many dots connected to this guy, and I also want to acknowledge that when Ivanka was asked that question first, she said normal things like golf, real estate, and then they pivot to him and he's like, says what he says. It's just like, dude. And here's my thing. The one that really gets me there really are many things, but the Howard Stern show, when Howard Stern says, can I call her a piece of, and he doesn't, like me, if you say that to me, like you can say that to your friends.
Not to me.
But you're not going to say that to my daughter. No, exactly. You're not going to say that to me.
Because you're a good father, of course.
You know what I'm saying? Like most
Yeah.
fathers I know would be like, no, you're not going to say that to me.
Right.
You know, like
Right.
it just is what it is. And it's like there's a mindset difference there that I think we all just have to acknowledge.
I think you're right. I completely agree with you. Where do you see this thing going? I mean, because I see Trump is going to do everything he can, whether they're talking about Obamagate or what type of sugar is in Coca-Cola. He's going to continue to do everything he can do to try to deflect, but I just don't think it's going to work. The story is not going to go away. And I give credit to the Wall Street Journal, and I can't believe I'm saying this, to Rupert Murdoch. I give him credit. He did not stand down. He continued to. Yeah, I mean, listen, he continued to put out. They probably have more information too. But where do you see this thing going? You think we'll ever see these files? Certainly, we're not going to see it in the next 3.5 years. But I don't know, Ryan. Do you think we'll ever see these files?
You know, I think we'll see a version of them. My question is just always going to come back to: will it be some kind of unredacted version, and can we trust it? You know, and I would probably be saying that even if it was Democrats, because I'm going to be very honest and realistic and say that there's probably some liberals in that list too.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
you know,
and that's fine. I don't care. Yeah.
If Bill Clinton's in there,
yep.
I'm not going to speak for you, but hey, go get his ass. I
Absolutely.
don't care.
Ryan, I've said the exact same thing for years. I don't care whether it's a Republican or a Democrat.
No,
expose all of them. I'm with you. That's the difference. The fundamental difference right now between most Democrats and Republicans. Most Democrats are saying if Bill Clinton's in there or any Democrat, have at it. Let them get what they get. But MAGA Republicans, they've been preaching that all of the people that are in those files are Hollywood elitists and liberals. And now all of a sudden it turns out that their orange orangutan happens to be in there, according to the Wall Street Journal, which, by the way, I don't think Rupert Murdoch would just throw this out there and lie, because
not
they would
with the way defamation lawsuits are going around.
Right, exactly. And now all of a sudden they're saying, well, if he's in there, it doesn't mean he's a pedophile. I mean, it's an absolute joke.
You know, to go back to your question, what's going to come of this? The interest where I stand, watching them use Obama now, like 6 months in, to me, that's their nuke. You know what I'm saying? Like that is their end game. That's the last play you've got, dude. Like, to divert attention from anything is to try to pin something on a former president that you know is beloved.
Yep.
And also, it's going to try to somehow negate the reality, which was Russia interfered in the 2016 election, and it wasn't to help Hillary Clinton.
Right.
That's the reality.
Yeah. And we know that Russia meddled in the elections. It was proven in the Mueller report, yet they want to say that Barack Obama committed crimes. Like, it's laughable. It's laughable.
But it shows you how desperate they are. Yeah. So, like, is anything going to come of this? To me, it really keeps coming back to two things. One, midterms. Two, are we going to have anybody in the Senate and the House at this point that is willing to convict if the House does impeach him?
Yeah.
That's really, outside of somehow electing a massive shift in both chambers. Yeah. That's honestly the only option we have. You know, the 25th Amendment, nobody in the Republican Party is going to try to push that. You know, so it's like, that's pretty much our only option. Or, like, let's just be realistic. If they keep masking up, agents and sending them out to pick people up off the streets, this is going to progress past a simple solution.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. If you're just joining us, popular left-wing podcaster Ryan Shead. We've had some pretty big names on this week, Ryan being one of them. We had Ron Filipowski, who did the show for Midas Touch on Monday. Let's see, who did we have? Destiny, who did the show with us on Tuesday. Yep. We had Parker, who did an hour with us yesterday. And, of course, Ryan, I've been following him on social media for years, and Ryan does a great job. And before we let you go, I want to ask you a few more questions. Then I want to give you the opportunity to talk about your new podcast. I got to bring up Hulk Hogan, and I'm going to tell you something, Ryan. I grew up 7, 8, 9 years old. I was a big back then it was the WWF, the Macho Man Randy Savage and the Honky Tonk Man and the Bushwhackers.
Ultimate Warrior.
The Ultimate Warrior, Tito Santana. So I would go with my dad to the Hartford Civic Center, and I remember it, and I saw Andre the Giant fight Hulk Hogan, and I was a big Hulk Hogan fan. Then when I realized that, wrestling was somewhat fake, I kind of grew out of that when I was 11 or 12, but that's beside the point. When I heard the audio of Hulk Hogan openly using the N-word, openly admitting that he was a racist and calling his daughter's boyfriend the N-word, I said to myself, this man is a piece of human scum. Anybody who is white that talks like that about somebody because of the color of their skin is a human piece of garbage. I've always felt that way about Hulk Hogan since. And I'm not surprised that the Republican National Convention decided to have this guy who was openly admitted a racist, who, by the way, was banned from being in the Wrestling Hall of Fame and was suspended because of those statements, to speak at the convention. I don't shed one tear for Hulk Hogan any more than I shed any tears when Rush Limbaugh passed away of cancer. Now, I said it then and I'll say it now. Rush Limbaugh might have died of cancer, but he was a cancer to the society. Yeah. I believe Hulk Hogan was a really bad guy. I understand he entertained a lot of people in his life. He was not a good person, and he was never a good role model. My thoughts to his family, but I believe there's a place in hell for somebody like Hulk Hogan, the same I feel about Rush Limbaugh. That's just my personal opinion, Ryan. I don't know how you feel.
I definitely don't want to come out here and like celebrate the dude's death.
I'm not doing that either. I just want to be clear on that.
No, I know you're not. Yep. I just want to make clear I'm not. And that being said, it's one of those things of don't meet your heroes. The people you grew up watching, sometimes they really disappoint you. And it's not just for me. It wasn't even just that recording, because I'm going to tell you something, man. Everybody, I think, just like I just talked about transgender and me growing over the years and becoming a better ally and person when it relates to that issue, everybody should be afforded the opportunity to grow. But when he stood on that stage last year, ripped his thing off and had that Trump shirt on, first thing I thought was, this dude didn't learn his lesson. Mm-hmm. That was my first thought. And, again, in the wrestling world, he'll probably, he changed the business, so you can't take that away from him. But the one thing that my dad taught me growing up was he had 30 guys that worked, he said, with him, but, that he was their boss. And he said he always treated them like family. His job was to take all the crap and let them do their jobs. And when you hear other wrestlers talk about Hulk Hogan and how he was behind the closed doors and how many people he stabbed in the back and screwed over and all these things, and you find out the kind of dude he really was, and it's like, yeah, this doesn't really surprise me.
Yeah.
So
Again,
I feel for his daughter, son, those that loved him, but yeah, I'm not going to be over here celebrating him like we're celebrating Ozzy Osbourne and Malcolm Jamal Warner. And,
right.
The last video Malcolm Jamal Warner had was so positive, and he was just sending out this good energy. And it's like, those are the people I'm going to miss, because they were putting out that good energy that we really need right now, into the world. They were
and Ozzy Osbourne had his issues with drugs and alcohol, but
very open with it.
He was open with it.
Help people with this story.
That's what I was just going to say. He loved his wife very much. He seemed like he was a really good father and husband and a loving man, and he was a great entertainer. And that's why I said that the other day. I said the first concert I ever went to, was an Ozzy Osbourne concert, and he should be remembered as a rock superstar, but even more importantly, a good husband and a good father. And you can't say the same thing about Hulk Hogan. I mean, openly using the N-word in front of your family. And you mentioned it too, all the people he backstabbed behind the scenes. You're right. Ryan, before I let you go, I know you got a new podcast that's starting up around the corner, and I love what you do on social media. So tell us about it.
Yeah, thanks for letting me plug it. So as you guys know, I have Hold the Mic. I've plugged that a few times on the show. That's not going anywhere. We're just on a little summer break. Ian, my business partner, he's actually moving his family to Hawaii for a great a day job opportunity that he's going to take for a while as we spin things up. So really happy for him. And it just so happened that Marcus Flowers reached out to me. And if you know how Marcus Flowers talks, he has kind of a, more monotone Ferris Bueller, kind of speech, but he knows what he's talking about. And so when he called me, I thought as he led into the conversation that it was going to be more of a mentor telling me to kind of, maybe turn it down to like 8, you know what I mean? And it wasn't that at all. He went into pitching me a show for him and I to co-host. So he didn't have to sell me for very long. The part that sold me, honestly, was he wants to bring on candidates and have really good conversations with them, but not at the congressional level, Senate level. We want to focus on city councils, board of supervisors. We're more focusing on getting the pipeline of the next generation of liberals and Democrats into the political system, because if we really want to focus down the road 10, 15 years, that's what we need to be doing right now, is picking out our politicians that we want to back, that we want to mentor, and get them in the pipeline. So that's what we're going to be doing. And it's going to be called With All Due Respect. And we're going to be starting next Wednesday. So you should be able to find us on all my channels and also all of Marcus's stuff. Go to his Substack. Make sure you subscribe to Marcus's Substack, Marcus Flowers. And yeah, come check us out. It's going to be good cop, bad cop. If you know me, I'm going to be the crazy one. Marcus is going to be the good cop. So it's going to be good. Check it out.